Hey guys, welcome to another Let's Talk segment. So basically, if you still don't have an idea of what I do in this segment, I basically talk about something that's like on my mind, and I just have to talk about it. And I basically talk about it with you guys, and you could usually let me know your inputs on that in the comments, or talk to me on Twitter about it because I'm active either way. So yeah, now let's get into it. So let's start off talking about the Saudi and Newcastle takeover. So ma- many people have had their opinions on it over social media, especially Twitter. Um, I personally think, as a neutral, that it's actually a good thing for the Premier League that the Saudis are actually taking over Newcastle. Uh, I know people are gonna use the fact that well, they're gonna buy their success off oil, but uh, the reason why it is a good thing for the Premier League is because first of all, there's gonna be way more money put into the Premier League, which is gonna make the Premier League more um, powerful than all the other leagues in Europe. And not only that, but it's going to be even more competitive. Instead of the top six, you could potentially have the top seven in a few years. You you could potentially say you already have that. So maybe the top 10. Yeah. So which is only going to make Premier League teams stronger for European competitions because they're going to be used to that competitive edge on a regular basis. Which the likes of Bayern Munich, Juventus, well, Juventus are getting are getting a bit of that now, but like they didn't have that before. Um, Real Madrid and Barcelona are obviously way ahead of most teams in their league. Ajax hardly have competition, and PSG are usually runaway leaders in their league. So we're gonna be one of the most fortunate league in that aspect that we're gonna have intense competition in our league, and winning the league is gonna be tough on its own. But this makes sure that like managers are always at their A games and the players are on their A games, and we're gonna basically see better games in general from our favorite teams in the Premier League, and that's gonna help us in European competitions because we're gonna be the fact that we're gonna be playing against really good teams on domestic level, uh, and then on top of that we play I don't know, like a Barcelona. We'll be used to that competitive aspects uh, going into that game, which maybe some of the Barcelona players might not be used to. So that's why I think it's a huge benefit that we're gonna we're we as a league are gonna face. Uh, I also think based on the fact that what Newcastle have been tortured to suffer as a fan base over the years, they in a way deserve this takeover more than any club in the Premier League because uh, they actually have a history. They have a really good fan base, and yeah, they deserve to. They deserve all this stuff. But yeah, as a Manchester United fan, I'm actually glad that Newcastle are being taken over by the Saudis, and I hope they do become a good team because uh, I'm gonna be if we, when we eventually do win the Premier League, I'm gonna be so happy because for the because I'll know we weren't clear runaway leaders like many of the teams in the past in the Premier League have done. Um, the the Man United team that ends up winning the Premier League is gonna win the Premier League in possibly the most toughest Premier League season ever. I know that for a fact that that's gonna be the case. That itself as a fan kind of makes you happy because you know the United team that ends up winning the league. is gonna be the United team that worked their socks off, and that itself makes me very proud. So yeah, in that sense, I'm very happy that this takeover is happening. I hope. I know Everton were recently got took over by a big billionaire themselves, or they're in the process. So that's good for Everton as well. Um, I hope that Newcastle do help us out a bit and take Sanchez and Phil Jones. Trust me, these two players are quality. You got to take them. Phil Jones is like a reincarnation of Duncan Edwards. Don't listen to me. That's from Sir Alex Ferguson. Sanchez is still in his prime. I definitely recommend Newcastle. Definitely go for Jones and Sanchez, please. They're amazing. I, we're gonna be a worse club by getting rid of them. So yeah, definitely take them. Now moving from the Saudis to the Glazers. So let let's talk about the Glazers ownership. And I'm not only gonna look at Manchester United. I'm also gonna look at their other franchise, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we know we know for a fact with Manchester United, uh, we're going through a terrible patch right now. Um, we haven't obviously won the league title since 2013, and we haven't won Champions League for almost a decade. And then you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers; they haven't been to the playoffs since I think it was 2008, right? That's more than a decade. So these guys they don't only know what football is. They don't know what sports are in general. They don't know how to run a sports franchise. So when people ask, well, look at how much money the Glazers have put into your club. Why are you so against them? Well, yeah, okay, they've put the money, but their recruit their recruitment strategy of ownerships for both franchise has been awful, which is why over the years, United fans have been against them. I'm pretty sure the Bucks fans have been against them. So these guys for me still have to get out of here. I'm not sure how the Buccaneers fans feel because things are starting to look good for them. They've gotten, I believe, Tom Brady, who's the second best quarterback after Paul Pogba. That's right, I said it. So it is looking very good for um, Buccaneers, but we have to see if they could get into the playoffs because they haven't managed to do that for a while. So yeah, it will be interesting how their season plays off. Um, and the and for United as well, it's starting to look promising, but you just know with the Glazers, you have to be a bit dubious because you can never fully trust them, and until they prove us wrong, it's gonna be very hard for us fans to really start trusting them. But yeah, I just want to be hopeful as a person and like, okay, we're going somewhere. So there's that. But yeah, would I say the Glazers are good owners? No, no, they're not. They've taken so much money out of the club in terms of depth. Um, they fail to ignore um, ignore Old Trafford. Uh, Old Trafford, as great as it is, it could definitely use a few uh, minor modifications, which they fail to ignore. I know for a fact Carrington has a few issues of its own that uh, Louis Van Gaal himself pointed out a few times. And while the academy is at its good state right now, a few years back it wasn't. Um, it's just now that we're producing huge talents like Angel Gomez, recently Mason Greenwood, Chong, few others. But before this period, if you just have to go back to like Louis Van Gaal's time, there was literally Nick Powell, James Wilson, and our best talent at the time was Adnan Januzaj, and he couldn't cut it into uh, the Man United framework. So it wasn't looking good from the academy side of things, and that's because that was another area of the club that was majorly underfunded. Recently, that has changed, but that's because I feel they've been lucky with the appointment of Nicky Butt, who's been amazing to say the least. And the other thing with the Glazers is we've taken a very long time to introduce a women's team. This is something that like Man City, that's right, Man City have been very good at establishing one. If we had introduced a women's team at least in I would say 2011, we could have had a we could have been ruling the women's game right now. We probably would in a few years anyways, but we could have had a firm grasp of it at the women's game. That's a missed opportunity in terms of the marketing opportunities because it is. Now, with the Saudis, one of the things that like gets talked about a lot is their human right issues. But our very own owners have are no angels in this regard. These are the same guys who've invested in Trump's political campaign, and not when you look at what Trump has done since he has been elected, uh, the fact that he imposed a Muslim ban in the United States, and the fact you just have to look at what things that are going on Palestine. People there are not really happy with Trump at all, and to add to that, if you look at Donald Trump's past with regards to abuse towards women, are these the owners that you want to be associated with Manchester United? The type of people that back people like Trump. Yeah, it doesn't look really good on the resume, does it? So I don't think if we're okay with the fact that our current owners are like that we should be using that as a criteria to judge whether our our new owners are clean in regards to human rights, especially if we don't know the entire story ourselves. I just want people to think about that when discussing potential new owners. I definitely think the Glazers need to leave Manchester United for the better, um, because it's going to be very hard for them to regain the trust of the fans, especially now more than ever, because we're gonna have a hard time trusting the Glazers. So where do we go from here? Well, okay, so this is gonna be one of the interesting bits here. So I'm gonna talk about someone, or yeah, someone that could potentially replace the Glazers family. Uh, so my recommendation of an ownership change at Man United would be if the Ambani family, who are the richest family in India, maybe even Asia. They have nearly 100 billion in their bank reserves. Yeah, they're very rich. They paid nearly $100 million to like Beyonce just to perform at their daughter's wedding. So they're loaded in cash. That's as much we paid to sign Paul Pogba. So they could very easily take over at Manchester United. They're also very good with with their sports franchises. Their franchise, Mumbai Indians, they're like the one of the most successful franchise in the IPL with 4 IPL titles. They've also won 2 cricket Champions Leagues and T20 cricket Champions Leagues. And Nita Ambani, that's Mukesh Ambani's wife, she recently created India's very own football league, which is also the third most watched league in India after the Premier League and La Liga. So they know sports really well, which is perfect because at Manchester United we don't have owners that know a thing about sports. So going from them to the Ambani family would be huge. And another positive thing about the Ambani family is, unlike the Glazers, they don't have human rights issues. That's right. So it would also be a very media-friendly takeover. I don't think many people in the media will question it as much if, let's say, we went with the Saudis for an example, because the Saudis did have their human rights issues. So that's another reason why the Ambani family should probably take us over. And now here's the fun fact about the Ambani family. So one of their son, Akash Ambani, his favorite team is Arsenal. So if we're being real, that could probably be one reason why they might not want to buy United if he has any say in it. I hope he doesn't for our sake. But yeah, so there's someone I would personally want Manchester United to be bought by, because I think they're wonderful. And I also think the Indian market itself is very huge. I know for a fact Man United were also planning on going there for a preseason tour. That would have been very good for the Indian public. I know for a fact that Nita Ambani loves football, so she would have definitely attended a lot of these games, and it would have been a good opportunity for her to see the impact that Manchester United could have on people in India, because we are a massive brand. And if you attach the Ambani family with the brand name of Manchester United, it's only going to be good for not only India but Manchester United as a whole. And it's gonna be amazing. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see about that. Obviously, it depends on the Glazers, because I'm sure if the Glazers decide to sell Manchester United, there's gonna be a long list of buyers. So it's on them to like decide to sell Manchester United, which is the hard bit. So yeah, so that's enough of me talking about club owners. Time to see Twitter moments. Enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoyed these Twitter moments. I'm gonna leave it for today. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, see the previous videos of this segment. And if you like this concept, please let me know. I'm most likely gonna be doing more of these because I don't know about you, but I enjoy these kinds of videos. So yeah, until then, see you.